Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Tuesday everyone. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So guys, let's see what happened around here today. Why don't we start with the tennis ball, as we lovingly call it here for obvious reasons. If you're new to the channel, pretty much looks like a tennis ball with wheels in a good way. Anyway, so Rafa worked on this baby here for part of the day and finished installing the new turn signal switch. Unfortunately, the original one in the car wasn't quite working right, so we had to buy a new aftermarket one. And it's a little scary because unlike earlier cars, on the later cars, there doesn't seem to be like really high quality turn signal switches available for the later cars like this. This is a 74 standard. Yeah, so I think the turn signal switch was like literally under 50 bucks, and I'm sure made in China. And but anyway, so yeah, it seems to be working okay. Rafa it did take a while to do some troubleshooting here with the turn signal circuit, and I think at some point he ended up having to replace also the turn signal little flasher box, which again on these later cars there's kind of like integrated into the fuse box. There's this holder over here that the various relays and stuff plug into, versus earlier cars where when they started using relays, they were just kind of like mounted here and there and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, the turn signal one we replaced turn signal switch, so I believe it's all working now. Turn signals, emergency flashers, all that good stuff. So finished that up finally, and then once all the wiring was working, he did go ahead and install this fresh air box here, and we had to order the hose, which we didn't have. That's a drain hose, because if it rains, water can get in through there and enter this box here, which again normally feeds fresh air to the front of the car here. But anyway, yeah, so there's a drain hose that goes here and kind of exits down here and drains, sort of under the gas tank area of the car. But anyway, so yeah, that hose will be there in the morning, or will be here. Rafa will install it. We already have the trunk liner for this car waiting to be installed, but again, all this stuff has to go in beforehand. The other thing we're having to replace, which I believe it has a new one in it, but apparently a defective new one, is, let's see if this looks new. That does in fact look new, guys. It seems, hopefully that is it, to have a bad fuel level sender, because the gas gauge seems to be working fine. When you turn the car off, it goes, or turn the power off, the gauge goes to empty, like all the way to the left as far as it can go. But then when you turn the car on, despite having zero gasoline in it, the gauge is reading like half full. So seems to be probably an issue with the sender. So we'll plug another sender in and see if that takes care of it. I think Rafa checked all the grounds and stuff like that. He's quite good at wiring and troubleshooting and stuff like that. So if he thinks it's a sender, I'm pretty sure that is the case. But we'll find out. We'll get a new one tomorrow and plug it in here, and probably that'll take care of it. And then the trunk liner can go in. And let's see what else, guys. Yeah, this thing's super close. It's been super close for a while, but we've been kind of concentrating on some other projects, namely the barn door kind of took a lot of time towards the end. It's done now. It's just waiting for some photo shoots and then to be shipped back to Hawaii. But yeah, this car, we've only had this car too, by the way, for maybe like 10 months or something, and it's pretty close to being done. So I'm sure we'll be done in much less than a year total, maybe like 11 months. I don't know, but yeah, considering it was a full restoration, paint, body, interior, electrical, mechanical, brakes, trim, you name it, it's been restored on this car. So yeah, it went along pretty fast. The good thing about this car was it was a very nice car when it came in. In fact, it was, I think I posted a video when it came in. We took it for a quick spin. This was like a running, driving car. And, granted, it had some like little fender bender accidents and obviously needed a paint job and interior and stuff. But overall, very solid and complete car, which made the restoration process go pretty smoothly for the most part. But anyway, that was a good chunk of Rafa's day working up in the front of this guy. And then he, for a little while at least, he turned his attention to this box of goodies, which happens to be the gauges and switches and stuff for the orange Ghia tucked back there in the corner, the orange Signal Orange 70, that's hot rod. And so yeah, he started kind of going through the electrical for it, as far as, again, switches, gauges, etc., cleaning stuff up and kind of evaluating to see, you know, what's what and what looks like it needs to be replaced and so on. So yeah, spent a little bit of time on that. And the other thing he did, I think he helped out a little bit on the other Ghia, this 72. I think he did something on it, and I don't remember what. So sorry about that. But yeah, those were pretty much Rafa's day. So my day, I was kind of somewhat all over the place today, figuratively speaking. I did take the tin for this motor, which again is the 2161cc for Big Blue over there. I did take the tin to powder coating for it, so that was kind of an accomplishment, because once that comes back, I can assemble this motor for real. Again, if you're new here, this is a fuel-injected motor that's also going to be running an air conditioner, compressor, and stuff like that. Hot rod motor and fuel-injected, all the good stuff. So yeah, that'll go together for real once all the engine tin and stuff comes back in. And as far as this car here, the Signal Orange baby, we did get the brake calipers back from our sales guy that we buy most of our MP parts from, which is Jason at Air-Cooled Vintage Works. And so he took these to MP, and they pretty much said, yep, those fittings. And so again, I'm talking about these fittings here. That's a NPT, 1/8" NPT fitting on this side that screws into the wheelwood caliper. So if you're new here, when I went to put these brakes on the car, these fittings were going in literally like half a turn of thread only into the caliper, which, needless to say, is completely unacceptable. And so MP, I talked to them. They said, send them back through who you bought them from, which again, Jason at Air-Cooled Vintage Works. So he brought them to MP. They looked at them and they agreed that, yep, that's not good. And so basically they did what I would have done, but felt better kind of letting them handle it, was they just ran a tap further into the caliper to make the threads go deeper. If you're not familiar with pipe threads, the male and female threads are both tapered. So how far you run the taper in kind of determines how far the male part of the fitting goes into there, how deep it goes. And so yeah, they basically just ran a tap in a little further. So now plenty of thread engagement in there now. So these are installed for real now with fittings that are, in far enough to be safe and not leak and all that good stuff. So went ahead and put those on, and then briefly turned my attention to the back brakes of the car. And so what I had to do is test fit the ebrake cables. And so this is another one of those things that makes me scratch my head about Impy, is they sell this brake kit here, which is for an IRS car. And it does, as I mentioned, have accommodations for e-brakes on it. However, for whatever reason, the cables that they send you with that kit are only for, I think it's like 73 and up IRS cars. It makes zero sense to me at all, because I'm pretty sure that most IRS cars getting, this kind of like brake upgrade and stuff are probably earlier IRS cars, like 69 to, 70, 71, maybe something like that. So I don't know why the cables they send are for very late cars, which to me, probably no one is, or very few people, I should say, is doing this kind of thing on. And I'm pretty sure there's many more, earlier IRS cars like this one. And so you're pretty much stuck making your own cables, because these are too short by about 2 3/4 inches, which I knew when I bought the kit, but it's like, that's what's available. They sell you this kit. And then if you've got a good sales guy like I do, Jason, he'll sort of remind you like, yeah, you're going to have to make your own ebrake cables because these are too short. They're for a later car. So super weird, guys. I don't know why they do that. Makes no sense to me. Better yet would be to offer 2 kits, you know, one with the earlier brake cables, which again is up to, I don't know, 73 or something. And then one for later ones, which is again like 74 and on, something like that. I may be off by like a year one way or the other, but these definitely don't fit this car, which again is the 70. So kind of annoying, but yeah, so you have to go through the process of putting it in, kind of mocking it up, like how you think the lever back here is going to sit when it's, you know, fully adjusted and everything like that. And then run it up here, put the handle on, and then kind of measure the distance from the threaded tip here to the little doodad on the e-brake lever that the threaded rods are going to come through, and then try and figure out how much more length you need. It's kind of a pain in the ass. I mean, I've done it on several cars, and I know how, and I've got the resources. But for, you know, an average person putting a car together in their garage who hasn't done it before, kind of a pain. Anyway, I probably spent way too long talking about that, so sorry, but just another one of those annoying kind of head scratchers. So also on this car, I did put back in the shift rod here, which I had previously took out and cleaned and restored, and with a Doran bushing up here from Washburns. And then also I bought from Washburns a billet shift coupler for back here. So between that and the bushing up here, the Doran bushing up here, and then I think he's going to go with like a vintage speed shifter. This shifting on this car should be super nice, like zero slop, very precise. He's going to love it. So worked on that, this car for a little while today, got those things done. And then turned my attention to Big Blue here again and started installing its radio, because I need to get the radio all installed in here in order to finish the routing of all the ducting and tubes and stuff for the air conditioner. So yeah, ordered a retro sound radio like we put in a lot of cars. And yeah, started pretty much mocking it up, got it fit into the dash there so I could see how it was gonna sit. And then from there, basically started wiring it up at least to power. So you can kind of see my start of the wiring here. So Volkswagen has a different wiring color scheme than, like, say, American cars. And so on these, the red wire is key on. So this is the wires coming out of the stereo. Red is key on power, and yellow is constant power, and black is ground. So basically what I did was I put in one of these strips here, like a standard Volkswagen strip for a later car. And then at that point, I changed the wiring color to regular VW colors. So in the VW world, brown is ground versus black, which is on, like most American cars and stuff. So brown is ground. And then again, in Volkswagen world, black is key on power and red is constant 12 volt power. So at least from that point on now, the colors will make sense to myself or anyone who's works on Volkswagens who would, maybe do something on this car eventually, because the wiring colors are going to be correct. So here you can see on the fuse box, here's red. So these are always hot. Way over here on this end, black, that's key on, hot, etc. So yeah, go ahead and change those colors to things that make sense in the world of Volkswagens. But anyway, yeah, so I'll probably finish getting this installed, and then I can get back on routing all the ducting and stuff for the AC, and continue working on Big Blue here on its air conditioner system while I'm waiting for the engine tin to come back, which they informed me would probably be about a week. I think they're little bit backed up right now, so that's okay because they do great work. And of course, I'm talking about our friends at Americoat here in Orange, super close to us, and they do a crap ton of Volkswagen parts between us and the other VW shops around here. So Jacob was in today. He was out last week on some family matters, and so he's back. And I went ahead and had him today pull the transmission out of this puppy. So if you're new here, this is a 64 Beetle restored elsewhere that has had nothing but engine problems since pretty much day one. So we pulled the motor out and put it on a pallet for him. He's going to store it because it is a numbers matching 40 horse. And then arriving tomorrow for this car is a brand new 1699cc dual port motor with, you know, stock carburetor and an alternator. So we're converting the car to 12 volts, you know, basically a 1.7 liter motor that's otherwise stock, other than a bigger stroke essentially and tiny bit of a cam. And yeah, and then we're sending his transmission out, which is, so Jacob pulled the transmission today. We're gonna convert the transmission bell housing to 12 volts, which is a matter of kind of opening up the inside of the bell housing. And then we're gonna drop in like a freeway flyer 4th gear. So he's gonna have much better power, much better reliability, and be able to hop on the freeway and, you know, essentially like go at modern traffic speeds. So yeah, that was Jacob's day, pulling the transmission out of here. Of course, you got to disassemble all the rear brakes and stuff, and disconnect the transmission from everything and stuff like that. So, and he drained the oil on the transmission. So yeah, this is ready now for our transmission guy to pick up and do those things on. Motor will be here tomorrow, and then of course it'll have to sit until the transmission comes back and goes in, and then the motor will go in. So that was Mr. Jacob's day. So guys, that is it for today. Appreciate you all watching. Tomorrow we are going to be doing in the morning a photo shoot on this guy for a Volkswagen magazine, the name of which I will not disclose right now. And we also should have another project coming in, and I'm not going to spill the beans on that, other than to say it's a early car. I'll just leave it at that. So hopefully tomorrow it's coming in. If not tomorrow, then maybe the next day. But I think they're going to bring it tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, because that is going to be bitching, guys. Wait till you see what we're bringing in. Anyway, so that's it for now, guys. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.